Hello, my name is Graham King. I'm the VP of Data and AI Governance here at Amino, and I'm joined by James Whittam, co-founder and Chief Consulting Officer, also from Amino. Welcome, James.
Hi, Graham. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. So we're here to talk about Data Products Playbook.
We are.
Over to you to describe what that is.
Okay, thank you. So, the Data Product Playbook is accelerate value for our clients. I think people generally are kind of fairly familiar now with data products, which are increasingly being seen as one of the core ways in which people are architecting data platforms to deliver and support analytical requirements. And we've supported a number of clients around the development of a playbook which really focuses in on how do you deliver data products. This package solution provides clients with an accelerator for the development of that data product playbook.
And being valuable to a client. What is it that makes it valuable to a client?
Okay, so I think that's really interesting because most people are, as I said before, familiar with the idea of data as a product, which is one of the key principles that sits within the overarching model of data mesh. Some of the other aspects of data mesh talk about things like domain-driven data ownership and a federated governance model. So it is a highly decentralized model. Now, what we've seen working with our clients around data mesh and data product is that there's a need to have a balance between that federated delivery approach and the decentralized delivery model, but some element of centralized oversight and alignment, let's say, okay? And something like a data product playbook is a way through which that can be achieved. So to kind of highlight a few specifics around that, the adoption of and use of a playbook for data products can help to drive consistency and quality because you've got clear guidelines around the standards that individual data products must align to, right? That each individual team can then work to. So you don't get that inconsistency around what does a data product look like in each area. Okay, you get that standardization. There's also the ability to accelerate delivery because you are defining a set of reusable templates and patterns and standards, right, which are adopted across the organization. So there's that consistency and agility in terms of how the organization is building data products. Okay, I think one of the other things that we've seen is that you can make sure that there's the sufficient focus around business value by building those checks and balances in at the outset as part of the initiation process around data products to make sure that there's a clear alignment and a linkage between the data initiative and the user needs and the business outcomes and the measures of success that people are trying to drive for.
Absolutely.
And the final one, I think, which coming from an architecture background is the one that appeals to me, is by having the playbook and putting in place within the playbook the guidance around kind of the standards and the patterns and the principles that data product development needs to align to, what you enable is an incremental development of a strategic data architecture. So having those standards means that as new data products are brought on stream, you are building a federated architecture that is not a set of individual silos. And I remember working with one client and talking to one of the senior architects with that client, and when we were talking about the idea of a playbook, and he said, if an organization is building data products and doesn't have something like a playbook, then the risk is what you end up with is a data mess, not a data mesh.
That's a good phrase. I'm going to remember that one.
It's kind of stuck with me.
Absolutely. So in terms of the data product playbook, what is it? How does that package solution go about it? How does it do that?
So what we do, as with our other package solutions, is kind of bring our experience and our processes and templates and accelerators into the engagement to try and deliver as much value as quickly as we can to the client. So we would spend, again, typically kind of 4 to 6 weeks working with the client, looking at some key areas in order to be able to establish an initial incarnation of a data product playbook for the client within that period of time. So that's quite ambitious, but again, we feel we can do that. So that would be looking at things like some senior stakeholder engagement with areas like data leadership, data architecture, data governance, to understand the strategic outcomes that the playbook will support. An assessment of the organization's current kind of data delivery practices, the standards and the architectures that are currently in use. We then look at defining those standards and those principles around how data products should be developed. So referring back to those kind of aspirations that I mentioned before, that data products should integrate together, then there's some minimum metadata standards, there's probably some architectural principles that need to be adopted and aligned. We'd look at defining and establishing that initial data product life cycle. So as you go end to end from initiation through ultimately to decommissioning, what does that look like? And then underpin that with the roles and responsibilities so that there's a clear ownership and accountability model around how that life cycle works, so that everybody can then understand what the individual engagement and touch points are. Right. And then finally, look at bringing that together and bringing that to life with an initial development of a data product to kind of prove that process and start to embed those roles and responsibilities. So as I said, quite ambitious, quite a challenging timescale. And again, as with all these things, we need support and engagement from the right people on the client. But we're confident that with our expertise and the components and the accelerators and what have you that we can bring out, then that's achievable.
Excellent. So as ever, what should clients do if they're interested in looking at this package solution?
And as ever, that's the easiest question to answer, right? Which is, just, we're obviously really, really keen to talk to people about this. There's a lot of work being done around data products. We've got some good experience here, and I think we can really help people to accelerate value in this area.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that's us for this data product package solution. Thank you.